Good morning, everybody. It's Chris Hales here. Welcome to the Transitioning. I'm actually standing in for Bob Wright, who's in Morocco and not available at the moment. It's going to be a great episode this morning with Julian Wells, myself, and Andrew Bartzis. I'm just going to be operating the board and sitting in the corner observing for most of the time today, I think. I'll just let these guys loose. But first of all, good morning, Julian. How are you?
Good afternoon, Chris. Or I guess morning for you.
Oh, it's very early in the morning for me.
Okay.
Lucky me. And Andrew, yourself, how are you?
I'm doing great today. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Doing well. Yes. I've been waiting for this conversation for quite a while.
Well, Julian, you've been following the other shows Andrew's been doing on Walking in Energy.
Yep, and his radio shows that he has on Wolf Spirit Radio.
Yep, and I gather you've got quite a few questions to follow up on that.
I do. At first they felt really personal that I wanted to get answered, but I think it'll benefit many people.
Yeah, well, Andrew's material is certainly attracting a lot of attention. You know, incredibly detailed and varied, as you'd expect from a galactic historian. So, without further ado, I'm just going to let you take off with it, and we'll see what sort of trajectory you actually lock onto.
Okay. Well, I do want to put out the quick disclaimer that a lot of this is going to be going into questions that are based on the three last radio shows of Walking in Energy. So I'm going to be jumping right into some of the already in-depth material that's been presented. So if you're a little bit lost, you may want to go back and, if you haven't already, listen to the Walking in Energy shows done with Michael Monk and Andrew Bartzis and Chris Hales these last 3 Sundays. And that can be found on Blog Talk Radio easily to download. But I wanted to get some, I guess, more clear depth of understanding on several subjects that you brought up, and one of the ones that particularly interested me was the understanding you had of the Galactic Ascension Machine. And if you could briefly describe it, and then I can maybe poke at a couple things that I want to sort of connect the dots with.
Okay. The Galactic Ascension Machine was created when the primary lines of drama in the universe had gotten so out of control that the oversouls of the series of galaxies in the universe came together and said, we must clean it up. And they took the 66 most prime dramatic lines and they were labeled planets. They took all 66 of these planets and stuck them into one solar system. They teleported each and every one of them from their original galaxies and then put them all into a single solar system with a central sun. The only thing that existed here where we sit right now was the moon that's above our planet. And that moon that was above our planet is a very, very, very ancient object created by the second, third, and fourth generations of immigrants to this universe. It was literally created to mark the end of the universe. The universe is ever expanding and ever expanding and ever expanding, and the Galactic Prime Creator keeps making more and more galaxies and splitting himself off. The pollution of drama had gotten so great. The moon, which the second, third, and fourth generations of galactic entities, they used it as a waypoint between galaxies. And it was the perfect place to put a seventh dimensional galactic seed planet, which is Earth, which was the prime drama planet of all 66 lines of drama. So they put Earth in front of that and that moon, and then brought every other planet here, including the sun. Each planet has a soul family group that migrates in and out of it. Some planets have dozens, if not thousands, of soul family groups. Our planet has 2,300 primary soul families and 700 secondary soul family groups. Mars and Venus and all those others have their own soul families. The sun is the representative of the heads of those soul families, the oldest versions of those. When you migrate from one universe to this universe, You take a physical body or you take an energy body. When you take a physical body, you have a DNA representation in it, which begins the soul family line. The entities that live in our sun have all of the soul family line and DNA family lineages within their energy bodies when they live within the sun. So if anything wants to enter the solar system, they must have DNA or soul relations to get in. That is the base facts of how our universe works for each parts of the galactic Stargate system. So if you want to go from one sun to another sun, you must have DNA or soul relations to those entities that live within the sun. And then you can use a dimensional drive or a warp drive to get into this part of space. The Galactic Ascension machine, 560,000 years ago is when it was put into this position that it's in now, where a management system was put in charge of Earth. Earth was the place that you come and get your PhD in the School of Hard Knocks. Mars is where you resolve war karma. Venus is where you resolve where brand new life that's coming to this galaxy and wants to understand the drama. Here goes. Venus is also the place of the philosophers that come here to resolve karmic issues through a broadcast system so people can be aware of the different types of philosophy. The Galactic Ascension machine itself has been under different levels of invasion on a spiritual level. When one galaxy decided to introduce war into the other galaxies, right at the rollout of Earth, where it was seventh dimensional seed planet, we're literally going to go seed life to a whole new galaxy. That's when the wars began. And the battle for Earth has always been that prime, because the time wars that have existed for 52 million years have always been about taking control of the energies of Earth so that you can literally populate a whole new galaxy with DNA wisdom into blank Akashic records planets. Is that what you're looking for?
Are we to assume that our embodiments represent actual data? And then that's our use? Is that?
No, not at all. You're a free-willed soul. This is a free-willed universe. And
so
when
we talk about embodiments, I got this impression originally that the Galactic Ascension machine was something that was getting people to have experiences in these places in this solar system, and that we were the points of those experiences being expressed.
No, actually, we're here to resolve karma and soul family lines, because too many suns themselves were extinguished by war. And when you extinguish a sun, you extinguish a spark of the galactic prime creator.
So our sun actually has types of inhabitants within it.
Yeah, there's 23 energetic cities in there that represent the oversouls of the 23 interacting galaxies that have all had drama related around Earth, Mars, Venus, or any of the 66 other planets.
Does that account for its size? For why
its size
so immense?
Its size is relative to the total soul power here in the solar system.
So I guess my question is, other suns and other solar systems, do they have their own Galactic Ascension machine type scenarios going on?
This is unique to this universe.
Okay, so this is one place where the Galactic Ascension machine, as you describe it, exists.
Correct.
For the purpose of development from souls from all over the place. I did want to talk a little bit about the primary soul families and the secondary soul families. If we could get a little bit of elaboration in a way that people might be able to understand a little bit exactly how we belong to these and how we might recognize them if we come across others that are a part of it face to face.
Okay. I'll start with the secondary soul families. Okay. Secondary soul families represent the animal spirits that are coming to Earth that they've experienced sentience on other planets, but they're here to experience the sentience of the food chain of Earth. Earth is a very unique situation, the way our food chain is set up, the way our time is set up. So many younger spirits, yet very powerful spirits because of their experience, come here to be animal spirits and many of them become teachers of humans based off of the experiences they've had on other worlds, other suns, other dimensions, and other universes. Those secondary soul families, those 700, represent the brand new things that are migrating to our solar system. Our solar system, being the galactic ascension machine, at times will burn people out, quite literally, and they have to take a vacation from the machine itself. So they will bring other people in to temporarily experience here. So there's constantly people aware of how difficult it is to resolve karma based on time wars that have stretched for 52 million years. That's the purpose and function of the secondary soul families, those 7, or the 2,300 primary soul families, basically equate down to Arcturian, Pleiadian, Orion, Dragaran, so on and so forth, till you get to 2,300 separate alien species that are completely DNA not related, yet have come to this planet and have been interacting over the last 52 million years, so all their DNA is now somehow interreactive within the skin suit technology of this planet.
Mm. And is there any particular reason why we can assume that our blood relatives here on the planet may be soul relations or part of our soul family?
In the current way we live, the vast majority of people do not have complete soul family in their actual DNA lifetime of this lifetime. The way the forces of domination and control have existed and created a multidimensional plan that stretches from the beginning of this concept was to make sure that everybody doesn't have soul family relations. Because if you do, you complete a soul code, and that group of soul family becomes immensely more powerful because of the nature of this world. It's a true free-willed world, a true co-creating world with a planetary sentience, it's a true seventh dimension sentience, yet there's technology and incarnation patterns that have totally limited to a third-dimensional reality.
So could you say that part of our goals in our lifetimes, and probably those listening to this, would be to reconnect with those that are part of our soul family so we can develop our effectiveness?
Absolutely, and that's what the event is about. Soul families coming through their separations of density and finding each other and expressing soul codes. Soul codes are the entirety of other solar systems that you've lived in. As I said earlier, to go to another world, another sun, you have to have DNA family relations or soul relations, and those represents the codes of you living someplace else. Because we are all come from other places to here, we all bring our codes of all the different dramatic lines that have been interacting with the 27 to 42 different galaxies that are intertwined into the pollution of drama that's been created from the 66 prime lines of drama.
So, okay, on the note of Stargate travel, how is it that we have all those beings that are in our solar system right now who, as I sort of understand it, were not here not too long ago, who actually have come here recently? How did they come here? Did they come here through the Stargate system, or did they take the long way around and slowly got themselves over here?
The answer is both. There is a migration pattern, a physical migration of three-dimensional, fourth-dimensional beings, as well as soul-related beings. The way the rest of the universe functions is there is always a recognition and commerce of the soul traveling. You don't need a body to exist anywhere. You can go to any planet and acquire the DNA body through commerce so you can exist on a planet, or you can physically travel to a planet and allow your energy body or physical body to adjust. So literally, bodies are disposable, and the reason the human skin suit is so literally valuable is because it has all of the DNA soul codes to the vast majority of our universe.
So let me clarify again. These soul codes, is it something like if you want to travel to another galaxy or solar system, there's maybe like an IP address, and each code that you get to bring towards you is like one of the digits that completes the address?
Yep. Okay. Exactly. A digit that completes the address, which shows you have absolute proof and permission to enter that solar system.
So in in this place and time, I'm assuming the event has a big part to play here, but what can we do to more quickly discover our soul family relations?
Well, that comes down to how much energy you want to be aware of. And the most basic thing is to get out there. Soul codes function through synchronicity. There's an omnidirectional beacon of energy that's constantly within your aura, that's constantly scanning others that have the rest of the code. When the Council of 12 was set up here, there was an action put into everyone's DNA that through the birth canal function, that there would be a small beacon through your crown chakra that would be looking for other peoples that you can complete soul codes, because the purpose of the Council of 12 was to make 2,300 species into a single DNA skin suit that all different species can function with. That's the resolution.
So the human form, is that what you're referring to?
The human form is the resolution of the 66 lines of primed lines of drama. That's the purpose of the machine.
Well, I'm going to try not to get my ego too ramped up because of that. Makes me feel a bit privileged.
That's why everyone's fighting over this world.
Okay. I'm going to change subject a little bit here. I've heard, and I've actually been personally confirmed in my head, but I couldn't really understand why. When there is a nuke that goes off on this planet, it destroys realities. Do you understand why that's exactly possible?
Oh yeah.
Why would people off the planet be concerned about that? Why is that so detrimental?
There's many ways to answer the question. And the best way I'll describe it is when you split atoms in an implosion-based thing, you are taking a reality that has limitations to it and introducing an infinity implosion to it. And that infinity implosion affects Earth on a seventh dimensional level. If Earth was a true third dimensional planet, it would not have as significant effects as it does. But Earth has 3 timelines for life and sentience existence on it. And those 3 timelines support as many as 200 primary lines of sentience. So one nuke affects all 3 timelines and affects all 7 layers of Earth's dimensions, even though there's a saddle that's limiting it to 3 dimensions, as well as the inner Earth, the outer Earth, and the astral world. It creates an implosion effect that literally sucks souls in and just restarts them from the beginning. They lose all their soul codes.
Kind of like creepy black holes or something.
Yep. But it goes to all layers of time too. It bleeds through all layers to time. And
so they're actually really worse than we knew they were.
When you're doing timelines, some of the nukes that were tested were actually done to end timeline wars or to end the good guys from countering the bad guys' timeline changes. I mean, America, I believe, 1,100 nukes it tested. Okay? So it's far more detrimental than we understand because it affects all 7 dimensions, and each dimension has 3 timelines in it. So you're talking 21 layers of timelines and dimensions that each nuke affects.
Okay. So will we ever gain the opportunity to be fully aware and interactive with those other dimensions of Earth, like the 7th? Is that to be for us in this time?
Absolutely. And I talked about the control rooms. Once we have full control of those, we finish the Dreamtimes event, and we as a people, and when we as the people come together to occupy those control rooms, we'll be able to begin to experience that because we can literally raise the vibrational level of the grids of Earth inside on the surface of Earth and in the stratosphere. And once you have 2 empowered grids, it becomes extremely easy to astral project to any part of the world and for local realities to begin to be empowered by the true co-creating spirits that we are.
Now, is that only from the control rooms, or is that just an ability we'll be able to produce?
Well, all will have it, though there will be a transitioning time of learning how to do it. and that's learning to become an energy master. And there's hundreds and thousands of different schools out there, in mystery schools, that still exist in secrecy that will come forward because it's time for those people to share their soul codes.
Correct. All right. Going to move on to a slightly different subject. As we know, that there's lots of people that are sort of like star seeds that are here acting as light workers. And I've often wondered, is everyone a star seed and is everyone on this mission, or are there only some people that seem to be aware of this and are actively trying to support the change? I'm wondering, many people seem to be asleep. Are they destined to be asleep until, say, the good guys have brought about enough change?
That's a very good question, and I'll answer it this way. Everyone is a star seed. Everyone is a star seed. And the best way sorry, I'm getting noise playing here in the background. Everyone's a star seed, but 10% of our population is an original first Earth species. And at one point in time, Earth had 32 separate first species that it spawned as first species. And they spread between the three timelines, and they have been interbreeding with the new people that come here from refugee status. Earth has been in refugee status 12 different times, where it's taken people where planets were being destroyed in other war scenarios and welcomed them here, so they became an adopted first species. That's how we came to the 2,300 soul families. As for star seeds, in essence, everyone is a star seed, but some have been here so long that the star seed part of them really doesn't apply because they're so old, have had to go through so many soul contracts, so many wars, so many true loves, so many children, that quite literally they're here to experience the event so they can return to their own home planet through a migration pattern and be a star seed on their home planet with a complete layer of all knowledge and wisdom that they've experienced here on Earth.
Okay, that actually leads me into another question. How valuable, or is it important for us to recognize our starseed origins? Is there functional use at this point in time for us to even know about them or to try to find what they are?
Oh, yeah. There's plenty of functional use for it. That's one of the reasons the Galactic Historian identifies species. It's going to be vital in the coming years that people can understand where they came from, and there'll be a transparent history and knowledge centers that people can go to learn about their homeworlds and begin to re-experience their through their amnesia that we have. We're a species with amnesia, and when we go through the remembering process, we'll learn we're going to be star seeds on our home worlds again. We're returning home after millions of years being away.
Well, the question I have.
I call this the Great Migration. There was several dozen migrations here to Earth where trillions of spirits came. And there are trillions of spirits here. There's not just the 7,300,000,000 here. There's trillions that are locked into this galactic ascension machine, not to mention the many hundreds of billions of actual physical ETs that are in the solar system right now, operating the quarantine system and interacting with different members of their soul family so that people can be awakened in the proper way.
Now, I'm wondering, why not just evolve into greater consciousness? Why do we need to reconnect with our path? It's almost like, why not just focus on what's in front of us?
There's a big reason why.
Okay.
We aren't in control of this world right now, though it's slowly being pried from their hands. And when the Council 12 was set up, its purpose was to bring us into a single species so that we could have that actual resolution that you're talking about. But the system was hijacked by multidimensional beings who are literally trying to create a new prime creator in a single galaxy that already has a prime creator.
And so they're actually trying to get us all to become something other than what we had all originally intended for ourselves.
Correct. They want to be in dominion of us.
And is that so
domination
bad?
of us. It is. It is bad.
Okay. Okay.
You think it's bad? You think it's bad now? Wait. If they were to take over, imagine if we would have planetary type vessels. We would out being warring with the rest of the galaxy.
It really would be a crummy Star Wars scenario type.
Yep.
Reality, huh?
Exactly.
Okay.
There would be an Emperor, and there would be Sith, and there would be exactly.
Has this happened before? As
no.
in this apparent reality has never gone crummy or gone sour. As
this, Earth is
a
very special. Earth is a very special planet. It has never gone crummy on this level. They experimented with other concepts after Earth was captured, and they began fortifying it. And the forces of darkness have been trying to recreate a galactic ascension machine other places, but have failed miserably because they can't get a planet to truly seventh dimensional status with womb chakras. That's the absolute key to this. The womb chakras of Earth means that you can broadcast fresh DNA wisdom to a blank Akashic Records planet. That's the key to understanding there. And when
Can you describe
the
blank Akashic Record planet? That's not computing for me right now. What could that possibly be? A blank Akashic Record? Is that just like a rock out in space?
No, it's a soul who has raised their vibration and dimensions enough and has come to determination that they can become a sun or they can become a planet. And if they choose to become a planet, they make a contract with the galaxy to be a planet. And what they do, they start with the most basic wisdom that they've had. So if you had somebody that's been lived on a bunch of different planets, he uses all of that DNA wisdom to start the planet itself, the rock, the centers, and creates opportunities within that for souls to migrate to a blank Akashic Record planet. Those people that migrate there bring their wisdom, and Earth can then transfer to the crustal system during its creation process 10,000 times the amount of DNA soul codes, so that soul that started a planet has an encyclopedia of life forms that anything can incarnate in.
So, okay, that's what you mean. You really do mean about the beginning of a planet.
Yes.
And they haven't been able to find a way to create another galactic ascension machine on another planet.
Nope. That's why our DNA is so important. That's why they have been kidnapping us off this world. That's why they're smuggling us. Everything that's going on right now is all about so that they could have enough of DNA before the change so they can recreate it on another place, and then those multidimensional beings can be in charge of that world from the very beginning instead of being given power by the Prime Creator.
It's starting to feel like that DNA is a form of energy, I don't want to say currency, but energy potential. And to harness that is probably the biggest goal.
That's the way commerce functions. That's the way intergalactic commerce functions. Material objects can be created by the skin suit technology. That's the consciousness exploration vehicle. And the consciousness exploration vehicle, the human, isn't limited at its start. We have all the codes.
The human ones, but not necessarily our Pleiadian relations or our Arcturian relations and whatnot.
They have a different set of codes. They're much different kind of species. Remember, the universe is ever expanding and new galaxies are being created all the time. We have codes to galaxies that haven't been created yet. And
that's our destiny.
It's not destiny. Destiny is one of those human terms.
Let's just say that's where our momentum is probably leading toward.
No, our momentum is leading us to our proper migration patterns to return to our soul families and our original home worlds so that we could share our soul codes with everyone else. Many of these species use cloning and can no longer have children. Some of these beings live 80,000 years. We'll have to teach them how to be pregnant. Otherwise, they'll stick them in a cloning chamber till they're 1,000 years old and never experience the child, never experience the birth process. That's what we have to offer. We get to teach them our culture, our humor, our comedy. And yes, we will raise in vibration and begin to adapt to their worlds, but what we bring is light. back to connect to their trees of life. So many of these beings haven't lived on regular planets or higher dimensional planets in so long. They just live in space with no sun to actively anchor them. They need to be retaught again how to be mothers, how to be fathers, how to be brothers and sisters.
Okay. Getting to another question that I was really excited to speak on is you mentioned to me, I can't remember exactly when, but that the ships that are in our solar system actually have their own intelligence. They have AI.
Correct.
Could you explain a little bit how that is, and is it like the Terminator machines? They just know how to do certain things, but they won't do other things. So they're very purposeful sort of computer programs?
No, they're actually sentient beings.
So they're like a being that decides to be a ship?
Yes, actually. I'll describe the building of a planet ship.
Okay.
You start with a foundation, an exoskeleton foundation, and you place very large-sized crystals in the four corners. If you have a sphere, and the eight parts of the sphere, and then you invite brand new entities that are migrating from another universe into those crystals to be a part of a planetary vessel. Earth is a planet ship also. The vast majority of planets, at least 80% of planets in the entire universe, are actually capable of moving. Okay? When you build a planet,
vessel.
Like a vessel, they're actually created that way. When they invite brand new spirits migrating, they get to experience everything that the people on the planet ship experience in total transparency and honesty. So it's a way of rapidly allowing migratory entities from other universes to experience through mass input what it's like to be as a part of a community through experiencing the community's life and motions. When you build smaller ships, smaller ships, you actually find the entity and then build the ship around them. And the keys, humans, are the astrogators of the system and interact with the AI in such a way that we can complete our soul codes to a brand new universe, other universal being that has no soul codes.
I'm trying to wrap my head around things like the difference between a scout craft and, say, a car we buy off an assembly line.
You create a vessel around an artificial intelligence.
So it's almost like if I were to take my computer and allow the computer to become my new vehicle and turn into like something that I can sit within and maneuver?
No. You would start with a crystalline core and then invite an energetic entity that comes through a naturally existing stargate in blank void space. There's blank void spaces that have energy wells spread all throughout the universe. And outside of our solar system, there's many, many of these. And the second reason why this solar system is very valuable, new entities just cross the universal barrier and then have given the choice to take a physical DNA body or just be energy bodies. That's the part of the free will setup of our universe. They can roam the universe just as an energy being or be invited into a crystalline structure that gives them a body and allows them to experience travel in a dimensional matrix with people inside the vessel who are sharing all of their knowledge, all of their wisdom, and all of their experiences so that entity understands what this free world universe is about and can co-creatively explore the universe.
I'm getting it. Thank you.
Yeah.
So obviously the process of creating even a scout craft is a very in-depth process.
It can be done within hours.
It can be done within hours, and there's no limitations?
Well, the limitations are the amount of energy the individual is going to put in creating something around the artificial intelligence. Some planet ships have 4, 5, or 6 artificial intelligences in them, and as many as 2 or 3 million individual beings will invest energy master energies into the creation process of the superstructure that is the transition drive, the dimension drive, the life support, the plants, the animals, everything that exists, because it's an entire planet on the inside. And then the surface, depending on the type of way they design it, can actually look like Earth, or it can just look like the concrete hull or an armored hull, depending on the purpose of the vessel.
Now, there's lots of people that are talking about, man creating spacefaring vessels. There's supposedly the government that's made some vessels. There's some people who have some really good designs. I know Maren Keshe has also discussed the potential of creating flying vessels. Are these fundamentally different?
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking they are. They're probably quite limited in their capabilities.
Not that limited. They're actually older technology. Like as many as 500,000-year-old generational technology. The types of vessels that are out here now are the top of the line, because consciousness explorers are continuously looking for these new entities that want to come in here and have purpose within our universe, so they can occupy the central artificial intelligence systems. And the Keshe type vessels and the American Space Program vessels are three-dimensional representations that use dimensional drives, the old school dimensional drive that didn't allow you to actually jump into a stargate of a sun. The old way is you basically made a dimensional rip and came in just outside the solar system, and then used standard propulsionary drives or magnetic drives to enter the bubble of the solar system. That's known as free-roaming galactic vessels, when you use an older type of drive like that.
So people here really haven't figured that one out yet.
No, not at all.
Are we allowed to begin exploring in those fields as a post-event?
There'll be
or
a transition.
Is that going to be seen as like a way to escape the Earth and the solar system and go off and,
Well, to answer the question as best as I can, when the event is getting up and going and people are out there marching in the streets and we're reclaiming our willpower, there's going to be many, many, many people who said, I'm done here. I can't take it anymore. I want to leave. There will be a phase of about 13, 14 months where the quarantine will still be in effect, so you cannot leave. And during that time, you finish the natural DNA upgrades so that you don't carry any bacteria or diseases to other worlds. There have been whole species that have been decimated because a human was kidnapped off this world and they brought him to another world to do experiments on them, and they had a disease on them that killed trillions of people.
I actually had a dream of that.
And it's not like once, twice. It's happened so many times that 5,283 separate species have come into a conglomeration of quarantining this world.
So it's a really good thing to have this type of quarantine, not just the Prime Directive-based ideals.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to speak a little bit about the difference between what life will be pre-event, close to the event, and post-event, within a year. So you just brought that up, that we'll be continually going through a process that, everything won't be fixed, lickety-split.
Correct.
Even post-event.
We're
going to still have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, we're going to break down to many local realities. Once we get to around...
You mean like neighborhoods?
No, I mean local realities.
Like a town, like everyone in the town?
No.
Okay.
Like a realm that has an energy barrier in between other realms. And there'll be about 6,800 of them, but individuals be able to create their own local reality. the dream world is going to assert itself into people's minds, and then people's minds are going to understand the infinite. And as they understand the infinite, the grid layers of Earth become more dense. And when the energy gets more dense, your co-creating nature spirit of you allows you to create a local reality with the use of dream time. So quite literally, your dreams manifest around you and create a local reality, and you can allow other soul family members that have the complete soul codes to come and live in your local reality, so everyone can finish meeting their soul family. During this 6800 local reality phase on Earth, there will be some entities that are part of the quarantine system that will come down because they have soul codes many of us don't. And this is the ambassadorial process. There will be these very light energy air cities that will be in the North Pole and the South Pole that people will be able to go to, and these will be ambassadorial points where, 200,000 different ET species may live in one air city that's a local reality that supports their DNA, that supports their body, and we would go up there and go through an adaptation process so we could live in that lighter reality and then begin the ambassadorial process of exchange. Knowledge, wisdom, culture, letting go, healing. I mean, there's 7,300,000,000 of us. We need 1 billion healers here.
And that's why when I speak to the Pleiadian friends that I have, they can't seem to get across to me that just having them land here would be the best deal to go for. I haven't been able to understand exactly what you just expressed in words. That really helps.
Thanks.
That there's a much bigger picture here with regards to the intentions of what to expect next and what the next functional steps will work best through.
That's right.
I want to speak a little bit more to these local realities. I've had lots of dreams where it wasn't just a dream, but I was being taught that we can localize our reality and actually gain a large amount of control over these local realities, and we would create almost as important as the realities that we establish, and we'll use templates of what we're living in right now to make them. But would almost be as important would be how to transition between the realities, almost as if the doorways to go from one to the next and to participate in others is also of importance.
Yeah, it's very important. We as a species will have to go through the remembering, and many of us are going to create local realities out of the beginning of the event that are just private for us. There are our own manifested dream worlds.
Yeah, they'll start that way. Yeah,
it'll start that way, and then we'll begin to share it because we instinctively understand in dream world we get to meet the rest of our soul family because it's been denied to us for so long. There will be technologies that aid people in creating their own local realities, and much of it will be crystalline technology that's based in the original Lemurian technology that spread out to the various parts of the multiverse that helped other species live the same way we do, in multidimensional style, local realities, because it's actually very, 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 very rare to have a world that has one single common reality. And if
I thought Earth was holding that for us.
You got to realize. Let's look at the Roman Empire, who went out and conquered the Germans, the French, the British. They were conquering local realities. Okay,
which are established based on communities, what we understand as communities.
Say that again?
So these local realities are established and maintained based on local communities, you might say?
Correct. Local
people
communities.
People of like mind decide to live together.
Yes. Now, in the old days, when like the Roman Empire would conquer Germany, they were conquering all the local realities. That's why war has been used with religion, because you were conquering the local realities. The same thing here in the United States, South America. when you have to think, why did Columbus discover America in 1492, even though there's so much evidence that it was there? Because Turtle Island, United States and South America, was a separate local reality. It was beyond the concept of other people. And there came a time where one group became so dominant they were able to totally dominate another local reality, which was another continent. And now
that really sucks.
Yeah, and that's why we're going to separate back to the local realities again. So
now,
we can return to our natural way of living.
Wouldn't that generate a lot of fear of separation anxieties?
Well, a lot of that will be dealt with in Dreamtime, the separation of fear, and that's getting over the way the world makes us live. If you have a dream event, right? If you have a dream event with the visitation of your full soul family, and you come out of it in tears, you truly understand that we were meant to live a different way.
You're talking to my experience.
Well, that and many other people.
Yeah. Okay. I'm really glad we're getting through a lot of data that I wanted to speak to. I'm going to ask a couple questions. I'm not really sure how to elaborate on them. You might know exactly what I'm actually intending here. The Council of 12. I've wanted to understand just a little bit more how they're being involved during this timeout. You have a lot of data that speaks to they're being shuffled or they're basically being moved around, so that they're not the same 12 that we had like 3 months ago.
Correct. What it comes down to is on the audit, which was done by Prime Creator on March 20th to the 22nd, the Prime Creator came in and read every single soul contract on all dimensions, on all timelines, and understood the multidimensional equation in absolute total, and determined that the Council of 12 was not doing its job and was not resolving the 2,300 primary soul families and incarnated species into a single bloodline to resolve the primary lines of drama of the Galactic Ascension, its actual purpose. It wasn't allowing graduating classes to leave the world ever, actually, and therefore it failed. And what that meant is it had to come to a resolution. All of the neutral sides of the Council of 12, because there was 7 dark, 5 light, and it originally was 4, 4, and 4, the neutrals had all been kicked out. So the most obvious thing was to put in neutral members of a council so that they can come to a resolution, instead of being a system that's locked into the votes slanted toward the dark.
Right.
So the people that are being walk-in replaced are the ones that aren't fully invested into a timeline war, because many of the people on the Council of 12 purposely didn't invest themselves into timeline wars. They had proxies of themselves do it. So when a walk-in comes in and takes over someone, it has to take over all of their contracts. Otherwise, it begins to unravel all of the time situations that existed before we became unified on a single timeline in 2011, June 2011.
So this is a really big deal.
Yes. It has to come to a proper resolution with the proper people holding the soul contracts, and the DNA skin suit that the walk-in comes into holds all the soul contracts.
Now, how easy would it be for all these aspects or I guess pieces of these individuals, these council members, how do they get the memo? Is it just that they begin to feel differently, or does the walk-in process actually get them to face their reality for what it is and take a new slant?
The other being who is not making the proper decisions according to Prime Creator's will is removed, and a being of neutral origin is put in there to make decisions based off of a neutral perspective with all of the soul contracts still in place. So it's like putting the super shock troops, specialist, light, neutral forces into a body in the absolute worst situation possible, because you have, minions above and below that are set on a path of domination and control, And all of a sudden, those controlling entities are giving different rules. Therefore, the system will begin to cannibalize itself. So those people that are walk-ins are truly the ones coming in and doing the hardest work.
Okay. These are not all necessarily public figures that we would recognize, I'm assuming.
Correct.
Or would they
Many
be?
of them are behind-the-scenes controllers.
Not just presidents and popes and things like that.
Right.
But like people in the Pentagon that nobody knows about, perhaps.
Correct.
But has a large influence.
Correct.
Obviously these new walk-ins know what's going on. They'll probably be quite aware of the game, quite aware of what's going on, and they really probably could use a lot of support. How do we know, as people who are not directly connected to the Council of 12, how do we know how to help them?
That's a tricky question.
Well, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just wondering.
No. Tricky to answer. No, I know you're not trying to trick me. It's tricky to answer.
Okay.
And it comes back to reclaiming your free will. The more energy you take away from the system, the more effective these walk-ins can be.
Right. Okay.
That's why I'm putting out these different, resolutions and removings of contracts from the different systems. It's so that people start exercising their free will and become active supporters of those walk-ins and active supporters of an awakening and a change. By us reclaiming our free will, by us ending our spiritual contracts with systems of domination and control, we literally help the event to come closer.
Now, I wanted to share for those listening here that you put some out on Facebook this last week, and they were actually read aloud on the last Walking in Energy show. And from my personal experience, the transformations were virtually instantaneously and radical. I've never shed so many tears from the transformation that came from them. And I just want to impress on those who feel that they're in the awakening process or feel that they might have some things holding them back that they don't quite understand. Look into these. It takes very little physical effort to read them aloud to yourself. And I've done them a couple times, and it only took a couple times, at least for me. And I see that, it could be an affirmation when you get up in the morning. But it was unbelievable transformation came from it. That's all I can really explain. Practically magical, you might say. So I'm a very large supporter of what you've been sharing, and I hear you're coming out with some more.
I just put one out on the media, and I'll be putting one out on the government and United Nations next, and then I'll be putting one of the final ones out that begins reasserting all of our contracts back to Earth Mother as the primary being of dominion and not domination.
Well, I do also, even though I'm supporting these, I do want the listener to read them for their truth that they may feel. Note that words can program other individuals. You can rewrite or enslave someone with words. So even though I'm suggesting that you check these out, obviously it takes a certain degree of recognizing the truth within them before the effect can be really incorporated. Now, don't do it just because I said so. I know I just said that. I'm countering myself here. But if you're not understanding what the words are saying, and maybe there's a part of it that is not, it doesn't tie in with what you understand, you don't have to read that part. You don't have to, accept that part. Take from it, what works for you and what you believe serves your purpose in this point in time. I'm not saying if you don't read all of it that you can't make progress within yourself and your experience. They will support you at any level that you're ready for.
Yeah. Julie, if I just make a comment on those soul contract cancellation documents.
Mm-hmm.
they are, in and of themselves, they're actually quite a detailed description of the degree to which we've given up our free will. When you look at the sheer number of aspects of even, say, the media, and how our tacit, our unconscious consent to it has completely railroaded our reality, if you like. And if you went, I guess when Andrew's finished the complete set of documents, if you read them, it'll actually be a description of what's been done to us.
It's not super detailed, but it stands at the root of the way at which they came to pass. Yeah,
at agreement level, not just at the physical detail. You give agreement for them to fiddle with you with chemicals, and what you're agreeing to is chemtrails, aspartame, and all that other stuff. But at its root, there's an agreement. Okay, you can play with my body with chemicals, etc.
Yeah. Now, even people who don't understand the conspiracies will know and probably agree with a lot of the data that is to be read aloud or to be read, because it just seems common sense, right? It just seems obvious common sense, a lot of the words. And so it won't, require you to go into discovering the conspiracy behind things. It'll just be like, yeah, of course I'll agree to that. All these, make perfect sense. But, I don't want you to take my word for it simply because I said so, because words are as powerful and actually the means in which spells can be created and used. So when you read aloud words and you have internal issues with some of the words, chill out and maybe not take that step. I can't promise that people won't repost Andrew's words and twist them and cut and paste, and make them different and actually turn them into a different form of energy. That's just the reality. You can cut and paste things, and if they're not directly from Andrew's Facebook space, then you aren't getting the original intent, and it could be manipulated. That's an issue, and so that's why even if you come across it, recognize each word and take what works for you in that moment in time.
Andrew, would it be true to say that if you modify it because something bothers you and therefore make it more meaningful to you, that it will be more effective for you, even though it's different to your original version?
Well, it's meant to be as a framework so people can modify it to fit themselves, because not everyone is ready for that level of detachment from the system. I wrote those for the people that are ready, and I've indicated many times, if you feel like you need to change it or you want to add to it, add to it. My original intent was to create a system of words that allows people to understand you can create a spiritual cord of equity that has all your DNA ancestors in it and all your soul family in it, separate of the system of domination and control, and that the decrees that you're reading out loud and removal of soul contracts is eliminating the systems of fine print that are being inserted into your past, present, or future lives. And when you use the foundations of that, it's to read it out loud, and so that's entered in your personal Akashic record, so nothing can redact your Akashic record, nothing can modify your DNA, nothing can modify your soul family. So many of us do not have full soul family, that so much of what's written there is returning the power to the soul family and not the system of domination and control.
Andrew, you mentioned, I'll start one more question and then I'll jump back and let you guys continue. The spiritual court of equity. Now, those are declarative courts. You just declare them into being by your spoken word and will. Is that correct?
And then who occupies them is your ancestors, Earth Mother, and any other DNA soul relations, or your past, present, and future lives. That's the key to creating the spiritual court of equity. So there are beings occupying space, holding space, so that the energy of what's being written aloud is coming to unity consciousness.
Would you say that the authority of your assertion of free will really comes from that spiritual cord of equity, and that's something that we've just have no knowledge of.
Correct.
Okay, it's a key point, because it's the sorts of solutions that we're heading into in the future as far as resolving this little problem we've got on this planet are standing on our equity asserted through free will.
Absolutely.
Okay. I'll hand it back to Julian. Just wanted to bring that out a little bit more.
There's a point where you cross a line within yourself and you realize where your potential actually is drawn from. And it's a real gobsmacker, I have to say. It really shifts your paradigm in very short order. It's not really anything anyone else can do a lot of work to try and convince you. It's a threshold shift within yourself that you will recognize, and no one else can prove it for you because of its nature. Simply that. And that threshold, once you cross it, you become probably what I would consider an extreme doer. I might have used that terminology in the past, because now every step you take, rocks the world. Like every footfall.
Every time you do it, reclaims your free will and allows the event to be more empowered in our dream states, because that's where the energy is coming from. And then the earth becomes more empowered, and the system of domination and control can't tax you anymore if you're no longer a part of it. And if they can't tax you, they must use their own energy and cannibalize themselves.
Mm-hmm. It's really kind of slick how that works in the favor of just developing an understanding within yourself, or I don't want to say developing, getting to an understanding that you already have, that you have access to your energy. And when you realize that, the life, the world really becomes your oyster.
That's right.
So,
and you have an unlimited amount of pearls in your oyster.
I wanted to speak a little bit.
Just before we move on, what Andrew says is really significant. He's talking about our value, unlimited number of pearls in our oyster, and that's the one we're trying to open by re-establishing free will. In fact, it's actually our awareness of free will. We always had it. We just weren't aware of what it was, how it needed to be exercised. So I get triggered by a couple of things here and there, and feel
well, go ahead,
pop up.
Yeah, sure.
I will. Okay.
Within the Avatar Energy Master course with Michael Monk, he speaks to, and I actually experience this soul mass growth, and there's a lot of practices that he has and meditations that he's done that really help you expand your soul mass. And I've had some trouble from my point of view, because I have my own internal visual on what that is, and I don't follow exactly how he perceives it. I follow it maybe 95% the same way, but I still want to explore what that really is, because what it profoundly offers me, in my experience, is this greater empowerment, right? And I didn't think it had anything to do with contracts. So, do you know what I'm talking about, Andrew?
I do. Every soul that migrates from another universe does the terminology soul mass expansion differently. And right now, in the states that we're in, we're limited by our linguistics on purpose with the systems of domination and control. And the limitation of linguistics prevents people from identifying that they function a little bit differently in this universe. There's no cookie-cutter way for everyone. It is your free will. When different schools come forward, like Michael's or any of the other mystery schools, they try the cookie-cutter system because they know there's going to be a mass investment at some time. But it always comes to the individual knowing what's right for them, following the wisdom of their teachers, their masters, and the educations that they have, yet you are still the sole person that does the consciousness exploration.
Mhm. Yeah, it's like my experience, I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like I feel like when I pay particular attention, it's almost like my body begins to radiate a glowing, right? It's a tingling, glowing feeling. I almost wonder if I'm actually becoming more bioluminescent.
Well, no, you're activating your crown chakra and allowing more of your dream world self, which is the true finite you existing on this world. I'm sorry, the true infinite you existing on this world, to enter your crown chakra. Though your body may limit it at the medulla oblongata level, the rest of it goes into your aura. And when your soul mass expansion, by that linguistical definition, you're literally expanding your aura with your consciousness inside the expansion. I've spoken about an omnidirectional field of energy in you. You're expanding that omnidirectional field with consciousness, so that the omnidirectional field can become an experiential tool or vehicle.
So that's why I can feel something 2 feet away from my hands.
Yes.
Like I can feel things on my desk.
Correct.
I mean, I'm not always aware of it, but I do know when I sort of charge myself, the range increases. Mm-hmm. It's really fantastic, guys. If you haven't looked into his course, they really do well to help develop your sensitivity this way, and offer practices to help you expand your energy field.
You were going to go into a few small questions.
Yes, and a little bit more personal, but I won't get into those. Basically, there were some questions relative to Andrew himself, so I was just going to check in to see if he had some answers. Okay. It might help others with their experiences. So, I'm kind of new to observing people's higher aspects, and I've done it on a couple occasions, and the experience was very tremendous for me. I know that they don't have a particular appearance that I need to remain associated with. However, there were these sort of like goddess-type beings when I viewed Lisa Harrison and other people as well, but in particular her case was like a goddess, and that individual would communicate with me. And this level of Lisa, I'm just speaking to Lisa specifically, I'm not trying to put her on the spot, didn't look like Lisa, like the human Lisa. And she didn't act a lot like the human Lisa. I can see it. I can see the interrelation in terms of personality, but this person was really tremendous and a really interesting expression of her. Now, some men actually were goddesses too. And I was wondering, at what level do you think I'm actually perceiving these individuals? Is this their soul family representative or something like that?
You're experiencing their oversoul.
Oversoul.
She's really an old spirit. She's from like the third generations of spirits born on the planet. So she's really old. Okay, and she's been on many worlds, been involved in many of the dramatic lines of karma. And when she chose to came here, like many of the other people that are in radio or the truth movement, they came here to bring their soul codes and all of those people that regularly incarnate on other planets with them. It's like the leadership saying, we're going to go here via our free will. You aren't entitled in any way, shape, or form to have to come. You must do it on your own free will, and knowing it's not going to be easy. And in fact, many of us old souls are going to get mired in the worst of the worst drama throughout thousands of lifetimes. But at the end, we're all going to manifest the most positive things to come about change, because the whole purpose of the Galactic Ascension Machine was to bring all the dramatic planets here, and that means the most dramatic people are here. And if you want to resolve karma with the most dramatic individuals, you have to come and incarnate with them.
Right.
They may need to be your mother, your father, your dog, your cat, your president, so on and so forth.
Mhm. So, I'm not trying to say that her identity was like a goddess and others weren't. They're all pretty impressive and hard to perceive almost. But I tend not to look at them unless I get permission from the person. I'm getting the feeling you don't get that same feeling that you need to ask for permission.
I experience this world differently. I've already downloaded the entire Akashic record of this planet and 20,000 others.
Mhm.
They're already within me.
What I'm wondering is my own bounds. Should I continue to ask people if I can look at their oversoul? Because I get this feeling that I should, like it's polite.
The answer, the physical person most of the time is completely unaware of their oversoul. And you can view that in the dream world. If the awake you wants to view a person's higher soul or oversoul, it's already communicating with you the response that can communicate to it. So there already is a yes answer waiting for you because you're a finite person who turns on a quantum field of no time. So when you turn on the quantum field, there already is the acceptance of yes, it's there for you to view.
So
the individual
simply by being able to do it.
Yes.
Okay. Wonderful. That helps clear that up a bit. A couple other things. There's 66 planets within our solar system. My biggest question is, how come we don't know about them? Are they just so far apart?
The government doesn't want you to know about them.
But
the Council
astronomers may have discovered them at this point and been shut up, perhaps? There's not just the government looking up the sky.
Our reality prevents us from seeing them. We have blinders on and limitations to our technological vision.
So you're not talking about like the moons of Jupiter here, right?
Yeah,
you're talking about their own
planet.
Concentric orbits.
Correct.
Okay.
The old Star Watchers knew they were all there. Okay? Because there was nothing limiting their local nothing was limiting the local realities of the Mayan Star Watchers or the Egyptian Star Watchers. They had the total view of the sky with no technology interfering with your viewing of it. There's etheric technologies that prevent you from actually being able to view the true nighttime sky.
I'm wondering, we use the other planets that everybody knows about in a lot of astrology work. How involved are these other planets in regards to giving more accurate readings? If we were able to...
good question. Astrology is created by man to interfunction with a master reality instead of a bunch of individual realities. Though astrology itself's foundation was still when there was a bunch of individual realities. Astrology has been hijacked by both sides multiple times, and there's so many different layers to astrological readings and interpretations that it's about returning the local reality to the astrological individual viewer. You have one person that reads a chart one way and another person that reads the exact same chart another way. It's again representative of how each person experiences the world differently. When you allow your astrological chart to have definition within your soul, that allows you to experience more of the energetic natures of the other planets, even if it's in a situation of domination and control or in a situation of light and dominion. It allows the spirit to expand enough with consciousness and to know that the solar system itself does interact with us, just as if the passing of the seasons and the flows of the tides interact with us.
Right. I'm just wondering why other astral travelers haven't mentioned them before.
They call them different worlds.
They just call them different worlds, literally. Doesn't mean they've traveled super far to find them.
Right.
Are they all occupied with human-like incarnations?
No. There's.
I'm wondering how significant they are to us at this point. That's probably where I'm really leading this.
that's leading it, once the first layer of people are ready to accept their graduation, because the Council of 12 hasn't been allowing graduating members of the system, they've been keeping them in there and cannibalizing the powerful spirits so they can stay in charge. Many of us will have to go to the moon first to get the rest of our DNA upgrades, or stay here and get the rest of our DNA upgrades so we don't bring disease to the galaxy. And that won't be a long period of time. There will be people that are so hell-bent of getting off of this world, they will be allowed to go to some of these other worlds that aren't in view, and that will be a transition world for them so that they can return on their natural migration patterns.
Okay. Which is a good lead into my next question. I still want some clarification about our moon. I don't feel like I'm quite getting what it really is. Is there any way you can maybe help expand the significance of it? It seems like is it the center of the universe, or
no?
Or what?
It is an anchor point between two very old galaxies that represented the very end of the universe a very long time ago. When this universe was set up and the Galactic Prime Creator created the universe, it started with one galaxy, and then he separated himself into 2, 3, 4, and so on. Each time he separated himself, he offered migration status to entities from other universes. And many of these entities created technology so that there would be a marker stone or an anchor stone or anchor concept of where the old edge of the universe was.
So it's not a portal necessarily.
No. It represents where the universe ended here when we incarnated into this universe, so they could understand how fast the universe is expanding.
So it's the beginning of a ruler stick.
Correct.
Okay.
But it's also technology, trillions of years old, all right? And the type of technology it is it's essentially an interdimensional, interuniversal hotel that entities from other universes and other galaxies can go to experience the youngness or the oldness of the universe, because there are other parts to the system of the marker sticks of the moons. There's hundreds of them out there, and they're considered the most valuable pieces of technology out there. But they're also in great disrepair because no one truly knows how to use them anymore.
I get the sense that there's been points in time where it has been occupied and not occupied. Is that
Correct.
Maybe underneath the surface or something?
There was a very, very long periods of time that there were no planets around it, and it just existed in the void of space as the universe continued expanding beyond it.
Now, when individuals from NASA visited the moon, did they figure any of this out, or are they still in the dark, you think?
When NASA landed on the moon, they were fully aware of the way reality works in the way that I'm describing it. Make no excuses for them. They know how reality works. All right? They got
an education long before they got on.
Long before that. The occult societies from the 600 AD on knew how it worked. That's why there were armies conquering local realities.
Okay. Speaking a little bit about this sensation that astronauts have felt after leaving a certain distance from the Earth, that they've experienced sort of like a lifting of the veil of sorts. Can you explain that sort of phenomena that they kind of explain?
You are leaving the unity consciousness or disunity consciousness of Earth and entering into a space where the galactic consciousness is not dense at all. So you have the veil of the disunity or unity consciousness of Earth removed and enter into the galactic consciousness, which is very, very thin.
Now, is that a place where it would be useful for us to travel to gain greater awareness of things?
Absolutely.
And expand our personal levels of consciousness?
Absolutely. That's why astral projection into outer space is so beneficial, people. No actual physical planet, just go into outer space. I recommend people go and find a meteorite. You can buy them all over the internet in local rock shops. Hold it in your hands and project your consciousness into open space. You don't always have to go to a planet or a star or another galaxy. Just go to the 10 million miles away from Earth. Just sit out there and understand
or just zoom straight up from your local awareness of your body.
Yep.
Okay, wonderful. Down to my last two questions. Can you believe it? Can we talk about something that I haven't been able to really get my thumb on with regards to the Pleiadians specifically? I know they're trying to explain something to me, but I'm not clicking, and I've tried to meditate on it, and I'm missing some data here with regards to why they really don't want to land on Earth, despite they keep telling me they do.
Okay. Because we haven't resolved enough of our karmic contracts with the main 15 multidimensional beings who operate at 17% of our population now. We have to reclaim our sovereign spiritual authority. And once we begin to do that and show a momentum and the energies shift away from the system of domination and control, they will be more than willing. Otherwise, if they land, they get caught up in the drama and can't leave here.
So they get stuck in like a web,
a
spider web or something.
Correct.
That's what that icky feeling was.
Yep.
Trying to explain that to me, I didn't have the symbology to be able to elucidate on that. And they keep saying they're waiting for the event. Like they're waiting as if they're not deciding when it's going to be. I thought the event was something like disclosure. You know, we choose, when disclosure is per our actions, but that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about
we choose to reclaim our power.
Okay. Last bit that I was curious about was Mount Shasta. You're going to be visiting Mount Shasta in 2 weeks from now, a week and a half from now, something like that.
Yep.
Could you speak to what's going to be going on over there?
We're holding a seminar. The seminar is the 22nd, 23rd of June. There'll be Rob Potter, Jen Hillman, myself, and Dale Benedum as speakers there. Rob Potter will be speaking about Ascended Masters and will be leading a portal activation at Panther Meadows as well as Stewart Mineral Springs. Rob has traveled all over the world, the Giza Pyramids, has been a part of many, many different seminars as well as the ones he leads himself. He works with Cobra. He'll be doing his Ascended Masters talk. Jen Hillman is a psychic as well as a Project Talent survivor, and she'll be teaching a Vision Quest class as well as a deep meditation class. I will be teaching a class about connecting to your dreams, as well as what's called a seed bag class, where you'll get a pile of seeds to put into a pouch that you'll be meditating over, and those seeds will be things that you can plant into the ground to gain healing for yourself, to gain knowledge and wisdom for yourself. And then I'll also be teaching a class on healing with crystals. Dale Benedum is a craftsman of Lemurian technology. He makes copper and crystal Lemurian headbands, as well as healing rods that are fabulous healing rods. In fact, I have both his products. You can check Dale out at LemurianCrystalHeadbands.com, or you can go to my website, AndrewBartzis.com, and find out all about that. I will be staying over. I will be arriving there early and staying over. I'll be doing healings and as well as personal readings there. The cost of the event is $250. I will be camping up there. Not everyone has to camp because not everyone likes that type of stuff. We'll be meeting at the Master's Room at 301 Old Stage Road. All the information is there on my webpage. There are many, many people coming down there that are going to be doing radio interviews and video interviews with me there. I will also be reading the 52 million year history of the Time Wars during my off time. And that's actually the original reason I was going to Mount Shasta on the summer solstice, was I was summoned there as everyone else that is coming there, the mountain will tell you if you're going to be there or not. It is the heart chakra of Earth. And this is about healing the heart chakra of all people.
Yeah, very, very cool. I feel like I've heard someone state that there was underground cities at Mount Shasta.
Yes. The underground city of Telos, of Hollow Earth.
Okay.
And the Agarthan network.
How significant is the fact that you're having this event there have anything to do with Telos, or is there no
a lot of
relationship?
There's a lot of significance. I've been inside Telos.
We're not going to go visit it. I'm assuming.
I've been
if
inside
we go
Telos.
there to Shasta.
There could be people that are invited in. I can't identify each person's density, and if you do, it'll be on an astral or dream level. I've been inside Telos many times, and the only way to get inside of Telos is to have DNA or soul family relations, and there's only one portal to get in and out of the city, and that's in Mount Shasta. And there's a giant crystal on the tallest building there that is the single portal and the single intelligence that determines who is allowed in, who's allowed out, and who's allowed to semi-experience the different realms inside Hollow Earth.
Okay. Well, that's it for my questions. Thank you so much, Andrew. I think
You're welcome.
We can maybe...
interview.
Wonderful. I'm really glad you're patient with me. I know these can be kind of out there, I guess, for some other people who are not used to this information. So I'm glad you being really good at explaining it for those people that are new. Chris, did you want to?
Yeah, I do actually.
Question?
Yeah, I'd also like to thank Julian for the really incisive questioning there, because the 3 interviews I've done with Andrew, because they're so intense, I actually don't remember much content, and I really need to go back and listen to them. You've brought a lot of it back, which was great, and also filled in some gaps, which were really neat. So that's great. So my questions jump amongst the content from the first hour, but we'll start back with completing soul families, and the synchronicity aspect of being drawn together, because one of the things that I note is that your soul family isn't necessarily your DNA family, and I have a suspicion that until people really understand what's going on, that the fact that you're drifting off from your family noticeably and associating with others may cause a degree of social stress.
Oh yeah, it will cause much social stress, because your soul has a beacon inside it, and that beacon is attracting you to other soul family. And chakras on the planet, high energy places on the planet, are interfunctioning and interco-creating with Earth, so that there is a common energetic meeting place that soul families can come and meet and experience each other, translate their soul codes, and know from their heart of hearts, I know this person on a much bigger level.
Well, in part, that's what will be happening at Mount Shasta then.
Correct.
Yeah. Good. Well, good. It's going to be interesting, as is all of this entire process.
Will there be any data that will be shared outside for people who are not be able to visit?
Yes, I'm going to be doing 2 live shows from up there. I'm not exactly sure what dates. It's going to be dependent on internet connection. I have somebody else co-hosting my show while I'm gone, Nikki Fetsy. She's a very powerful psychic also. So I will join her. I will also have other people that are be doing interviews up there. In all of the entire reading of the 52 million years of time, it will be shared on my YouTube channel or on my webpage. I haven't determined exactly where I'll share it. And there's a person that's going to be converting all of the Time War data into a book, and that will also be available within a few weeks.
Excellent.
Very good. Okay, next question. Are the 3 timelines you spoke of still running?
Oh, yes.
And if I was to move between timelines, would I even be aware of it?
No.
Is it a matter of which drama's playing out? How does that actually look if you switch timelines?
We humanity that's functioning as the graduating class post-audit is on the central timeline. The timeline above us has a different group of sentients that is still under domination and control, but on a very lower scale. They will also reach their graduation date staggered from us, and then the timeline below us, which is more interacting with Hollow Earth energy and Soul Family energy, they will have their staggered graduation also. So the central timeline is the people that should have graduated 1,000 years ago, they're going to graduate first. The ones that have been stuck in the web.
You've used the term frequency split as far as this aspect of who goes, where, when. Is that the same thing? The staggered graduation that you just spoke of?
It's you can't have everyone just migrate out at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna pollute the universe again.
Okay. So it's kind of a self-organized
Yeah.
Redistribution of souls, if you like.
Right. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. The control rooms. Who is actually fighting for the control of the control rooms for us?
The Pleiadians, Andromedans, and Arcturians who have decided to come and live in the web as physical beings that landed on this world, as well as the different cells of the Resistance of Free Earth who have been incarnating every lifetime to be a resistance member of Free Earth. They exist within our government, within our military, within our common civil cultures. There are people out there that are healers. There are speakers. They're there to do their part. The control rooms at that level, you're dealing with the oldest souls of domination and control, and you're resolving the oldest layers of drama that stem back 30 million years ago. So it's separated of density by the oldest souls that are in charge of the control rooms, and then the opposite of them who are trying to take that energy back.
That'll make a great science fiction show at some point in the future.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, relating back to those very old soul families who are actually trying to, completely abscond with this planet, the summary of the whole situation on the planet seems to be that the intention of this planet was to develop a unified species whose DNA could bring back life to the universe and heal problems throughout the universe, versus the other scenario where is it 13 or 15 soul families who came here to dominate the Earth and to create another prime creator being inside this universe. That seems to be the big game. The question is, the soul families. You've never really named, given that soul family group a name, or even is it as a group or as individuals?
They're not a soul family. They're 15 separate multidimensional beings that are so big they cannot incarnate into one body. They are soul family to us because they've incarnated millions of their pieces parts and became soul family to us.
Mm-hmm.
The 15 multidimensional beings either migrated from another universe or started in this universe, and they're the ones that are challenging Prime Creator. For the longest time, they were in complete and total unity mind to get to this point. They aren't in unity consciousness or unity mind amongst themselves. It's whoever wins now. So those 15 beings aren't working together anymore.
This is if you like, the system feeding on itself at this endpoint.
Correct.
Okay, next question. We were talking about local realities and the way that the local realities actually have some kind of energy barrier that maintains that reality separate to other realities. Now, is that energy barrier that's created by the individuals inside the local reality, and what would it actually look like?
It actually wouldn't look like anything. It would just be a barrier of energy that visual consciousness couldn't look beyond. It would just look like the seeds continuing and continuing. And at times, the local reality can create a bubble and allow a vessel into it, and then it just teleports it out and puts it into a different direction. Like example, Christopher Columbus. When he came through, he had sacred geometry objects that allowed him to penetrate the bubble because he was understood through time-traveling energy.
Okay. Who supplied him with those sacred objects?
That would be the Spanish court.
And they were, keys to the door, as it were.
Correct. That's beyond the gates, the Pillars of Hercules.
Were the Pillars of Hercules a visible thing, or was it simply, as you say,
It was actually two giant obelisks, that one on the Morocco side of the Gibraltar Strait and one on the Rock of Gibraltar itself, and they were representative of where unity consciousness of local realities that were controlled came to that point and empowered that barrier line, which intersected with different ley lines, and then those ley lines allowed the interior local realities of a subcontinent to be laid out into a pattern of local realities. And there are multiple other versions of the Pillars of Hercules spread all over the planet, so that ley lines and the subsections within each groups of ley lines would be allowed their interior realities to form within them.
This planet was really designed to support many, many local realities, yet we have one at the moment.
Correct.
I just wanted to point out, or I guess really ask the question for confirmation, is what holds this reality is a combination of mind control techniques, the most obvious of which is the media.
Correct. Media, banking, education, military.
Yeah, but all those big things across the planet.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's changing. The only way we can change that local reality or change that majority reality in any way is reassertion of our free will over that mind control system.
Correct.
That's the game, folks.
That's the game.
Okay, next question on the Council of 12. Just to clarify this, we're not talking about necessarily 12 beings here. We're talking about 12 souls who are incarnating shards into, if you like, the control systems of the planet to manage things. Is that correct? That each of those councillors, if you call them that, has multiple incarnations here, or just one?
It is. The 15 multidimensional beings aren't the Council of 12.
No, clearly, yeah. I'm talking about the Council of 12 and the fact that they will have multiple shards.
The Council of 12 are beings that have multiple shards, but they are an oversoul entity that exists within the South Pole and determines who gets to incarnate here. They are literally the group that says what migration gets to get in. When the neutrality is removed, the dark took over 7-5 versus the light. Therefore, it was constantly slanted towards the dark. They are the administrators of the incarnation rules, the administrators of the soul family rules, and they have, yes, many shards of themselves on the world that are contract holders of the rules that they create.
Okay. I can see how that works. That's very good. Look, that's all the questions that I have, but we actually have 4 people here with their hands up. We've got about 15 minutes to go. Do you guys want to take a couple of calls?
Sure. Sounds good.
Okay.
There's no psychic readings.
Yes, no psychic readings. We're actually just want questions on the subject matter to hand. Okay, so I'll start off with area code 612. Hi, welcome to the show. What's your name? Area code 612.
Hello, Chris.
Here we go. Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
Hello.
It's me, Elizabeth. Hi.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you today? Yes, we can hear you.
I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And my whole family, sorry, the grandkids. My question, Andrew, and thanks for the show, Julian and Chris and Andrew. Could you expand a little bit more on the dream time event that's supposedly, and kind of like a time frame it's supposed to happen, or how we can prepare for it?
The time frame depends on us reclaiming our free will. This can be extended out another 20 years. When you see people marching in the street, the same scale and size of the 1960s and 70s, you know that the event is really close. The event will have 4 stages to it. It will begin with Unity Dreamtime amongst people, and people beginning to share their Dreamtime stories until a point where hundreds of people will be sharing their dreams, or someone will make a video on YouTube and share it, and the next thing you know, it'll have 200,000 hits of all people that have shared the same dream. That's the first stage. The second stage is when we begin to predict world events on a Dreamtime scale, and many of us create our temporary local realities within Dream World. It would be like lucid dreaming in the dream world and lucid dreaming in the real world at the same time. And then the separation of two worlds is no longer separated because you've become the infinite being in your local reality.
And the third stage, Andrew?
Well, to really identify the third stage is all about how much power we reclaim from the system of domination control, how we take it down. When we enter that third stage, it's the breakdown of the local realities. The most powerful souls will come higher density, and they will begin to craft their local realities in a Dreamtime Council format. New York City would be a classic example where the sacred geometry would be erased and a new sacred geometry would be created that allows all people in New York City to experience the Dreamtime of the North Pole, separate of the domination and control Dreamtime grid. So on New York City, Los Angeles, all of them would become their own local realities, and how one local reality shares media with another local reality will determine how we are beginning to take down the system of domination control. One local reality in New York City might be reporting another version of Sandy Hook, and one local reality in Los Angeles will like it's never happened. Okay. It'll work that way.
And the fourth stage will be a sort of a uniform application of local realities all over the planet,
as well as ships and air cities being visible in the skies based on the unity conscious level of each local reality. When there's a peak of energy, there will be ships in the skies and based on local realities.
Will we still be able to travel to these other between the local realities if we wanted to?
Yes.
Like say I'm in Seattle, but I want to go to New York. Can I still book a plane to New York?
You may land in New York, and it could be 2 years ahead of time. Or you could drive your car from Seattle to Los Angeles, and when you get there, it's like only 1 hour to car.
Okay.
It's going to get hard to schedule meetings then, Andrew, is it not?
Correct.
Okay, that's a great question, Elizabeth. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll pop you back on hold, and we'll go to area code 785. Okay, welcome to the show. If we could have your name to begin. Area code.
Hello?
Hello?
My name is Destiny from the Midwest. One moment, please. And I am a super truth seeker and have been for such a long time, most of my life. I just want to say knowledge is truly power and that the truth will set you free. I merely want to say I am truly and totally thrilled to have finally met you at this time and within this lifetime, sir. Thank you for your gifts of knowledge, Jillian and Andrew. And I listen to you frequently from now on. And I am an artist. And that's what I'm calling about, is because I am said to be one that paints from the mind and the heart and the feelings and the love within. I can't pre-plan any work of art. I try to, but something takes over and I paint, and within the flow of like feelings of rhythm that comes from within. I love the universal galaxies so much that I actually chose a theme for my graduation from school that I named From Alpha to Omega, then Onward and Upward. And people kind of thought I was crazy because this was years ago. And now everything that I painted is now sort of coming into fruition.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't believe it, couldn't understand it, was scared of it. But through these last 20 years and praying for the mysteries of the universe to be told and explained to me, and it has been coming and very refreshing. And at times I've been scared to death, but I love it, sir. I just love it, and thank you for everything you're doing in your line of work. And my question is, who am I? What? I don't understand myself. I don't understand why
I think
people...
that is part of our personal journeys in discovery. And, I think it deserves a lot of exploration of what that really is for you. But let's try to set up a session that's separate from this period of time here, because it could be, a good long talk that we could have.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yep.
I'd love that more than anything in the world, because I've always felt different from everyone else, and I tried to be like them, and I couldn't do it. I am the way I am, and I've been here, and I've done many good deeds and things for people, especially those, my children, my family, but because I'm different from them, they kind of resent me.
Well, Destiny, I think the one of the whole points of being here at this time, incarnating here and going through this process, is that we actually get to find that out. And it's going to be different for everybody, and but it is going to happen over the next period of time. We'll eventually find out who we are.
I can't wait.
It's a great trip.
I'm so excited, and every day brings me more and more joy and love in my heart to know that there's people like you, because we are alike in many ways.
In more ways than we know.
That's right. That's something that's being revealed clearly. Destiny, I'll pop you back on hold. Thanks for your comments. I think you've expressed really a big.
How do I get in contact?
You can find me on Facebook, and I believe Andrew's mentioned his website. It's andrewbarsis.com. Is that for sure?
That's correct.
And he's mentioned that he does one-on-one sessions, but it might be a little while, I think, right, Andrew? You got a lot of bookings already lined up.
Over 450 bookings to process. You can call my regular radio show 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday at freedomslips.com. I get 200 to 300 callers each show, and I only take 12 to 14 callers each show, so it may be a little hard for you to get through. If you go to my website and fill out the contact form, you'll get an email for the automated booking system that I'm installing.
Okay.
But you'll find that just having the intention to explore your greater nature will attract multiple avenues for that to make itself present in your experience.
Especially at the moment, because synchronicity has kicked in big time. Destiny, Destiny, thanks very much for that. I'll pop you back on hold. We've got about a minute and a half to wrap up. So, Andrew, any final comments?
I look forward to seeing whoever's coming out to Mount Shasta. It's going to be a reunion of Soul Family, and it's going to be an outstanding event. I want to thank Julian and both you, Chris, for running those outstanding shows with Michael Monk and Peter Shelton. And Julian, you're an outstanding individual who's getting a very firm grasp of some of these most complex subjects. And the questions you asked today just show how much you're expanding at a lightning speed.
Yeah, Julian's evolution has been very, very interesting and rewarding to be a part of, and I have to thank Julian for including me in that. And also thank you, Andrew, just for the huge amount of information that you can impart so clearly. It really is absolute gift.
Yes.
And if anybody wants, thank you. If anybody wants to go to my Facebook page, you'll see the newest document I put out on the media contract removal, and it'll be there. Just to scroll down on my wall a little bit. A lot of people have been posting on my wall. Share it.
Oh yes.
Indeed. Okay, well, we've only got a few seconds left by the look of the countdown here, so thanks everyone for participating today. Oh, no, the lady just told me, the lady with the nice voice, whom I believe is Magenta Pixie, we have 60 seconds. So, Julian, did you want to add anything before you go? And announcements for next week's show, for instance.
Yes, next week we'll be speaking with Thomas Hughes, who speaks with the Sasquatch people. And we'll be exploring just what is up next on the agenda for them, and also get a greater refinement in terms of exploring our potentials and our desired experiences that we wish to have with them and how we can start to do that. But until then, everybody enjoy this next week and, listen to the Collective Imagination and the One People if you like this sort of material, because it gets into lots of progressive information, you might say, in these fields. So take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care, and we'll see you next time.